Hey guys, it is, I guess, 5 a.m. and Smallgate decided to, or has finally revealed the Elvira change. Kind of just wanted to go over it, kind of, I guess, give my thoughts and if I think the character will be good or not. Let's just kind of break it down real quick. First and foremost, her skill 1 no longer dispels 1 debuff, or dispels 1 buff, which is fine because now I guess they have a provoke, which is kind of ironic considering what they're changing with her is that you can't get affected by, I'm assuming by Candlestick. Haven't read too much into it, but I think it's kind of funny that they gave her a 100% chance to provoke on S1. Regardless, the next thing that she has is now her S2 decreases the amount of fighting spirit gained by the enemy by 100% just at base. I don't think it's required, or as far as I could tell, it's not determined or it's not dependent on immortality at all. Now what it is that when you use now when you use her exterminate, not only does her exterminate damage increase after the buff, now you also have the S1 strip dispel or whatever now apply before you do beguile, which is really nice, I guess, in terms of tuning and timing, because why would you want to S1 and then if you don't strip the whole team, you can't even apply beguile. Beguile, honestly, like until like those later stages or later phases of the game, really didn't feel like it did anything anyways, because a lot of people were just trying to run, this ER build on her. So I think this is definitely a more synergistic looking, I guess, like skill 2. The skill 1, honestly doesn't really look like it does that much, considering you only have, immortality for what, 2 or 3 turns anyways. But maybe the damage will be significant enough. And now let's get on to, I think, probably the big major change that I'm assuming is going to be the thing that affects all of her kit, which is now she strips all debuffs or strips all buffs from an enemy before making them unhealable, and now decreasing defense for 2 turns while also giving immortality. That's a lot. That's also really interesting because this is kind of like if Zio's S3 defense broke, which is kind of funny sounding. And now, like, when the target is a hero, damage dealt increases proportional to the target's current health. This skill is unaffected by cooldown increase and decrease effects. Okay, so, I mean, she's now a little bit more Faithless Litica proof. She is now also Lua proof, which is really nice. This is actually in my opinion, what I consider to be probably the best change of all time. This is kind of like a win-win-win scenario for pretty much anyone that wants to play Elvira. I don't even know if they had to change her S1 and her S2 based off of that. However, I do understand she's like a little bit underwhelming if she isn't able to just solo 1v5 the whole team. However, there's the decreased defense now, and now you also have the strip before you beguile on S2. Overall, honestly, I'm really happy with this. I think EpicSeven did a pretty good job changing Elvira. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I didn't like look too much into it or I didn't ignore anything. But number 1, I think probably the nicest thing in terms of just what I would rate like the best changes about this character, without obviously getting to the fact that she can no longer 1v4 the entire team, is that number 1, now her S3 or her decreased amount of fighting spirit gained by the enemy thing is now just at the beginning of the match. Formerly, it had to be after you had immortality. So there were technically scenarios, or there could have been a scenario where if they didn't add this or if they didn't fix this with the character, a character like Abyssal Euphine getting 3 counters or whatever, basically just gets her S3 off anyway, so it doesn't matter at all. But now that it's just base at the beginning of the game, it doesn't matter. Same thing with a character like Lionheart Sirmia. Some of the fighting spirit characters, I should say, get off or get all of their fighting spirit before Elvira was able to even get her S3 off beforehand too, depending on if you're running her on counter on speed. So I think this is really nice. Again, I don't really know like where the provoke or how good the provoke thing is going to be, because it's only 3 turns worth of immortality. I guess maybe now you'll, instead of trying to run her like this infinite immortality build, maybe you'll just run her with enough effect resistance to not get stripped by someone like Arrowell or something. Like maybe 200 ER is now what people will run. Or they'll probably try to pair her with something like a high damage dealer, and you'll now be like at that 240 speed. I apologize. Excuse me. But now, like, she does have a little bit more utility with the skill 3 defense break, which, again, I don't know how good this will be, because though the fighting spirit thing is really nice, the reduced fighting spirit thing is really nice. We've already seen Smallgate try and apply Abigail or give Abigail a similar sort of defense break utility aspect to her kit, and it didn't really feel like it did anything else, or it didn't really feel like you did anything with the rest of your kit or with the rest of her kit. However, I will say that now being unable to, being unable to either reset her with Lua's S3 or Faithless Lydica's S3 or any other character's S3 is pretty nice. Lua, obviously is not like the most insane skill 3 reset in the world anyways, because it's just one turn. But Lua is a very prevalent character. Faithless Lydica is a very prevalent character. I think these are really nice. And I will say that to their credit, Smilegate was kind of in a weird spot where if they had this Elvira Candlestick interaction, in theory, you would have had to either, nerf Candlestick, which is already kind of bad because they've recently, for some random reason, recalled or they've nerfed Auxiliary Lots and being able to use Spirit's Breath, which again, who asked? I don't think Auxiliary Lots needed that change, but doing that change with Spirit's Breath into Candlestick's change would have been really, really bad. And then, I guess like them nerfing the character, like the very hot character that just came out, would have also been really bad. So it kind of felt like a lose-lose situation for anyone that wanted to play Elvira or wanted to do PvE. However, I'm really surprised. I think this is not going to be, like, I don't think this is ultimately going to make Elvira nearly as good as she was in the past. But in technically speaking, because presumably they're going to allow people to recall the character, and also because you don't affect Candlestick, this could be decent. However, honestly, guys, if they don't end up giving us the Alencia like refund treatment where anyone that spent money on Elvira could get back anything that they put on the Covenant bookmark or on the drop rate up banner, if they don't give back that and they don't give back any like bookmarks that you'd had, or if they, I apologize, if they don't give back all the bookmarks and everything that you spent on the banner, kind of similar to how they did with Alencia in the past, I think ultimately this will still probably be an L, and there will probably still be a lot of people that are upset, just because, just based off of what I see from Elvira's S3 here, and like the Fighting Spirit change and all that, she's going to work in some niche cases, but she's probably going to be about as usable as someone like Abigail, and I don't know how good or how bad that's going to be. We'll have to see. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this video. As I mentioned before, I think she's pretty cool, or I thought Elvira's like design and animations are really cool, but I don't know if this kit change is necessarily going to be enough to justify picking her. She has the defense break and she has the beguile synergy, or like, change to make it a little more synergistic. But again, 100% provoke on S1, and her immortality is only for 3 turns. I don't know how good that is. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Make sure to like, comment, turn on the notification bell, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the changes to Elvira. I think they're okay, I guess. Ultimately, I'm happy that PvE didn't get changed, and I think that's something that a lot of people are happy with. But ultimately, since she's getting gutted, I don't really think she's getting gutted, to be clear, but I think she's getting a hit somewhat. It looks okay. I like the defense break. Again, maybe people will try and build her as like a 180 speed defense breaker or something like that. But ultimately, she is not even 1/10 of the character she used to be. Anyways, yeah, that's going to be it. Make sure to check out Twitch, Twitter, Discord, all that jazz, all my socials. I'll see you guys on the next one. Adios.